Welcome to the City Advertising and Promotion Commission Workshop for October the 12th, 5 p.m. at the Auditorium. So a couple things first. Everybody knows, I think everybody knows here, but I'll do it for public record. Scott has been out. He had surgery Monday, Tuesday, I think, and was in a hospital in Hot Springs. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And he's doing well. He's back, or at least he's recovering. He's back. We hope to see him back in the office maybe next week. So we wish him well. That's first. Second, we have new commissioner. Chris is here. I'm just going to give him the floor for a minute or two. He can talk about himself. He can talk about the weather, whatever just he wants to do. So you have the floor.
I'm excited to be here. Name's Chris Clifton. 3 years in just outside Eureka. My wife and I own and operate Bear Mountain Log Cabins, and love it here. Very excited to be a part of a group to help promote tourism, and just look forward to serving and working with everyone. Thanks.
Welcome.
Any questions? Any questions? Okay. So we need to give input to Madison and staff, right, for the budget for next year. So we need to start with overall budget. Overall budget, we're thinking.
Yeah, so if you guys, if you'll look in your little packet, just some general overview. We're thinking we're probably estimating a $2 million budget for 2023. So keep that in your mind. Additionally, I've asked Paradise to give us a 12-month lawn marketing plan. In the years past, they've only done, maybe 9 months out of the year. So this year we're asking for 12 months. So expect an increase in their budget. We don't have it yet, so still kind of working on that, but just keep that in your mind as well. And then below that, if you guys are okay with it, I'll talk a little bit about what I think the 2023 budget needs for next year. Primarily, I think it all actually is auditorium things. So just going down the list here, the Auditorium Promotion line, we want to add that, and that'll be for the shows that we have in the auditorium currently. We don't do any marketing for the shows that aren't ours. So any outside promoter shows, they do all of their own advertising for their shows, but typically the venue does put some ad dollars behind those as well. We just have never done that, and so Molly and I talked a little bit about it. We're thinking about $1,000 a month to go towards any shows that happen during that month. We'll have like a pre-existing radio ad that we change every month to reflect our shows that we have in the auditorium. Basement floors, we think that they're probably going to need to be redone. They're the original wood floors, so we don't want to cover them up or anything like that. We'd like to refinish them. I've gotten a couple of quotes, and they range from $18,000 to $20,000 to fully sand and refinish them. So we want to add that. Excuse me. We also want to add a line for auditorium in-house show production, so concerts that we produce ourselves, that we will go and pay the talent to come. We allocated preliminary $30,000 to that. We think eventually we're hoping we will then be able to make money, of course, off of the shows, and then continually use that for the next talent that we add. And then we also need an auditorium director. Once the budget is approved in January, we'll hopefully hire that person by by the end of quarter one. I've put in there, I'm estimating their salary range to be $45,000 to $55,000. Do you guys have any questions about any of those at all, or can I elaborate more at all?
Well, are we ready for an auditorium director for next year? I'm assuming we're ready to.
Yeah, this year we've had in between 1 to 2 shows every month in the auditorium, and currently Molly and I divvy up those responsibilities. We really need someone who has venue experience. We really do. We need someone who.
This is a new position?
This would be a new position.
But we're actually under budget this year on our overall.
Auditorium.
Well, not just for the auditorium, but we're actually under budget on our payroll, right?
Oh, yes.
So payroll is on here, and we're actually under budget. Where's payroll? What line is that?
So if you go to line salary and benefits, it's under the office bucket, the last bucket, I believe.
So we approved a budget of $210,000, and right now we only have spent $155, right?
Yeah.
And we think that right now showing the adjusted budget is going to be, where do you think we're going to land? I know Scott's not here.
Scott's not here.
We're going to be under that, though, you think?
Probably, yeah. Oh, for the end for this year? Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it about 50 grand a quarter?
Yeah.
So,
And just to remind everybody, our budget this year was 1.96. That's what we budgeted, but we're actually trending up. We think we're going to possibly hit $2 million this year.
1.796.
Yeah, 1.796.
Yeah.
Sorry. I got my
Right under 1 point, you said 1 point.
That's normal for me. So, yeah, so we 1.7, and so we go to 2 million because we think we're going to bring in 2 million. I mean, is that too risky? Is that not risky enough?
Scott projects, he told me, of course, he's not here, but he told me his projection is that we'll break 2 million, and that's conservative this year.
Yeah.
I think you have to think about, I think 2 million is probably conservative for next year, but I also think you have to think about the possibility of the COVID numbers kind of plateauing a bit. The post-COVID numbers plateauing a little bit.
I'm assuming you'll put together like a job description for the,
Yeah, I'm not ready to give it out, but you guys will see that before we put it out.
We'll approve a job description.
Yeah, you'll approve it.
Before that goes out, and then it has to go out for 30 days.
You will advertise it for 30
Advertise it
days.
for 30 days. There's a process in place.
before the position's approved, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes. And then we'll actually be involved with that hire. We'll approve that hire. Okay, so I say we stay with 2 million. We'll get some input from Scott. Okay, 2 million. And what do you guys think about this? We want to move forward with all this auditorium stuff, and how do you feel about this auditorium show line?
What is, maybe I missed what that was.
So currently, all of the concerts that come through the auditorium, all of these national touring acts, they are brought here by outside promoters. We primarily use a man named Larry Schaefer, and he does a great job. So all of the auditorium shows that you see, those are his, that he contracts the talent for and makes those deals with the talent. So we've been asked, since I've been here, to try to pursue us promoting our own show, our own shows. And I will say, for me, because I don't have experience in this, it is difficult, and that's why I think we need an auditorium director that has experience in doing things like that.
That would be the auditorium director's job.
Yes.
But we're saying that we would put a little bit of money in there for him to be able to, him or her.
You just start somewhere.
Him or her to actually be able to go out and promote a show. And the idea behind that is that if it's a $30,000 show, we still sell tickets, and it
Right.
either makes money or it's at zero.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And it is true. It's. I mean, I won't hide it at all. It's risky, right? I mean,
It's
of course,
risky.
you don't know. You hope you've gotten the right person, and that's why I believe we need someone with experience who has done this before we start broaching that subject.
But we
right?
also know that it really moves the needle in tourism here. When you bring 800 people, to town for a concert, they book rooms and they
Sure.
they spend money in our restaurants, right? So, I don't know. I'd like to see if there's room in the budget, because I'm concerned that we'll have a wish list and there are some things that just won't fit, right? So I would keep it in there, and let's see how once Scott starts compiling the numbers of what we need. we'll see
Yeah,
how
when we get down to it, there are things that we'll keep and probably take out, just because we'll have to decide if it's worth that, if it's worth $30,000, and if it's not, it's not, and we'll decide that. And you guys, again, will see all of that before it's approved, of course. You approve it in January.
No, these are wish lists, I get it. So I say we try to see, we'll go ahead and see about what it looks like with the auditorium director, and then these improvements for the auditorium.
Do you seek people for this position that are local, or do you go out?
It really, I would like your input. We will advertise it regionally. So
things-
we'll advertise it in the corridor.
Yeah, one of the things that we did, Madison will tell you this, because she got caught in the crossfire of this, is we required that if they took a job here, they had to live in the county. We didn't, And that was James, you remember, you weren't here, but James was adamant that if we're going to hire somebody, that they should live here and be a part of our community. And that's just something we'll have to decide when we put the job out. Are we going to want somebody who's a part of the community, or are we okay with somebody who's going to drive in and work for us?
Yeah.
Or are we going to try to hire somebody local? It just comes down if they're qualified.
Right, I was gonna say, if they're qualified, yes.
If they're qualified, that's what we
Then if you
want.
gotta start seeking out, then that's when you,
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Any other thoughts on the auditorium or any other stuff you have on the auditorium? Because I want to go back to Paradise.
Yeah,
Do we
this
want-
is my wish list, so.
Okay. We wanted to get your opinions on, Madison has talked to Paradise, and they're recommending a destination study. What do we call that?
Destination study, destination plan.
Okay. So you've got that, do we have that paperwork?
Yeah, it looks like this. It says Paradise on the top.
Tell us what this would be and the benefits of what it would be, and ballpark what we think it's going to cost. We don't know what it's going to cost yet, but ballpark.
So lots of DMOs do this. They'll hire a third-party company to come in and they assess your destination. So they'll tell you, you need more parking here, or to attract this type of demographic, you're lacking in this area, or, I think Paradise calls it a tourism master plan. And so what they do is they just assess your destination in all regards, not just marketing, but in, like I said, parking, or
Right.
this is, or bathrooms are needed in this area, or this is how the normal tourist moves around in the destination, and they need this when they're here, whatever it may be. A traffic light, I mean, not that I want to broach that subject, but
No. Let's
Anything-
rewind the tape and edit right now. You did not use the word traffic
I just
light.
mean, it could include any of those things, right?
Gotcha.
And so it's something that has been, a couple of people in NADA have told me that this is really beneficial for destinations. And Paradise agrees. So Paradise will help us find this third-party company. We don't know how much it'll cost yet. I think ballpark is around $50,000. And completely honest, again, this is preliminary. I don't know how long it takes. But,
So this would be facilitated by Paradise, but they would not be involved other than just data.
oh, no, yeah, they just
And
come
so
and they do it.
This would be a third-party company
Yep.
that we put out for bid, and these companies would bid on it, and then we would get that information. They would
Yeah.
basically evaluate us as a destination.
Yeah, it's essentially an evaluation for the destination, literally.
Yeah.
In all
I mean,
regards.
Is that, I mean, I think it's needed. Like, I think we need to know where we're short, and then that information, I think, is good for stakeholders.
Right.
They need to, and even for like marketing plans that trickle down to even a small guy, you need to
Sure.
know who's really trying to come to Eureka, and what we maybe need to address. This might be something that,
If I remember right, Bentonville did this and found the big thing out of that was wayfinding back when I was in there, the signage.
do you think they got value out of the money? Was it worth the spend?
I think so. I mean, that was the big thing I remember, that the push came out of it, was really upgrading the signage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see here, Paradise provided this information for us. They say,
Yeah, let's go over this.
a tourism master plan is the long-term strategic roadmap for a destination's success. A tourism master planning will enable us to better understand how to balance the needs and quality of life for the local community with the visitor economy and the visitor experience. By drawing on the expertise of impartial experts who have worked with a wide range of cities, we can ensure the CAPC and stakeholders have a clearly defined path to success for our community. They talk about the things that this will accomplish. They'll provide an assessment of the destination. They'll identify key opportunities for innovation and improvement, and outline strategies that support the needs of residents, visitors, and stakeholders. So it's not just us, it'll affect the community, right?
Right.
And again, once we receive the estimated cost, I think we'll just have to decide if the cost is beneficial for us or not.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see if we could put it in the budget. You
Yeah,
got-
and
what do you
I'll
think?
send you
Want
guys
to see
this-
what the number looks like, and then, yeah.
I think
I'll-
it could be really beneficial to have an outside independent group evaluating things. That just takes away all of our biases.
Right.
I agree.
I agree with that completely.
And I'll send you guys this document because there's some links in it so you guys can look at the other plans that Paradise compiled for us for some other destinations.
Okay. Anything else on any Paradise or anything else you have that you wanted to talk about?
I don't have anything, just like I said, whenever I get the budget from Paradise, again, we'll go over that. And I'm just waiting on that.
And we're not looking like, as far as budget-wise, but everything, we're keeping everything we did this year. Folk Festival, right?
Yeah.
That should stay the same. Music in the Park.
Yeah.
All that stuff wouldn't change, right?
No, there's a little tweaks that will change for next year. Just little like office things. Like we did budget adjustments last meeting. There's just a few little things that we'll tweak for next year, but nothing big.
Okay. Okay, so I do have one thing that I just wanted to get commissioners' input on. You guys have this page here. This is actually a plan that the city had to renovate the fire station and make it, you'll see it says community hall. They were going to make it a community hall. We cannot fund it. I don't think we can fund a community hall.
No.
But we do have the ability to fund a visitor center.
Yes.
Right, that's in our preview. We could fund a visitor center. We could approach the city and ask them to let us have this facility for a visitor center, and we could do the renovations, and we could run it as a visitor center. Is this a road we want to go down, or is this a good idea, bad idea? What are you guys thinking? I love the idea of having a visitor center, but it is a big road to travel. It could take us a minute or two to get it done. And what do we think the costs are going to be?
If we go down this road, you have to think about staffing,
Well,
right.
Renovations.
So if we want to renovate I can't think of the word, fire station.
Yeah, fire station.
Fire station.
The
If we want to
historic
renovate
fire
that, it's right across the street. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but if you go right across the street from City Hall, there's two double garage doors. It's a city-owned property. And so,
It is the original fire station.
Fire station number one.
yep. So if we renovated that, we're thinking it'd probably be around $100,000. Probably just give or take a
We
little
would
bit.
have
We're not
to-
sure.
Yeah, we would have to meet and design and figure out what design changes that we want that's for a visitor center. And
Sure.
then we would have to put it out for bid. And if we even want to go down this road, what are the benefits and what are the negatives?
Sure, I mean, think about it, the location is amazing, right? I mean, think about the foot traffic, right? And we're able to get in front of the visitor more so than we are even here, just because pull those garage doors up and they'll be excited to go in. They'll just stop in like any other shop. And then from a tourism perspective, right, we get to tell them about everything, right? Why should you come back in 2 months? And, all of those types of things. We'll have merch, things like that. I mean, there's lots of benefits to it. There, Ron is projecting
This
the
Fayetteville, right?
Experience Fayetteville
Yeah.
Visitor Center. So their
Yeah,
AMP
there it is
commission,
right
this is their visitor center there.
Thank you, Ron.
Yes, thank you, Ron. Do you mind flipping through those, Ron?
So there's somebody in there to staff it? and-
There's somebody there to
talk them
staff it, and you can just go in and you can just ask, about Fayetteville, and
Sure.
they're there to assist you. They do have merchandise. It's all, of course, Fayetteville-related merchandise. You can see that they have a rack card there for a rack shelf for all the rack cards. So the nice thing that I like about this is that if you're a merchant in town, you could put your coupons or your rack cards in there, and when people come by, they can grab them, and instantly they can end up in your store, right? And so I like the idea a lot. I think it's a challenge. I think it's a challenge for us
Yeah, I mean,
with our,
the big benefit is that we get to get in front of the visitor, right, more. And we get to talk to the visitor more.
and of course, it would be a ticket sale location for
Sure, for the
auditorium, so people
auditorium.
can come through. We're giving them, hey, we have tickets. It could be a ticket center. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff, so.
I think there's a lot of benefits for it, I mean, but we would have to renovate that area, which would be, it's a wonderful location. We just have to renovate it. It's not ready.
Right.
for anything like
What is
this
it
right
being
now.
used for right now?
I'm sorry.
What's in there right now?
There's a antique fire truck.
Is it really? Okay.
The fire truck's in there.
I'll be
It's actually really cool.
And they have, the city design, they had proposed that the trucks stay in one side. And then they were going to use the for meeting space, right?
Sure.
That was part of what their plan was. Of course, if we decide that we want to take on this project, it actually would be nice if we could have meetings in there. Because
Yeah.
we don't always need this big auditorium. And the hopes is that the auditorium, we would be having a show over there and still could have city meetings. That's the ultimate.
Right, so this
now,
is-
we are headed toward what could be a conflict when we're trying to book events or whatever in the auditorium and then not have a place for all the city meetings.
Yeah.
This could be a secondary meeting place.
Sure. Like, currently, most of our concerts happen on like a Friday, Saturday night, sometimes Thursday. But there have been a couple of times where they've wanted to book a Tuesday or a Wednesday, which is great, right? Even if
Great
we
for
only sell
tourism.
400 tickets to a Tuesday show, that's 400 people here on Tuesday.
It's a big
And
deal.
it's been we've worked it out every time, but there's been a couple of times where it's conflicted with like city meetings. And so we've worked it out every time, but this would solve that problem, right?
Last minute ticket sales for events for somebody,
Yeah.
strolling by and, help sell more tickets, yeah. Cool.
Thoughts?
Are there any other spaces that there could be a visitor center that wouldn't cost as much to
renovate?
develop?
I don't know of any
Yeah.
that are a prime location like that, right? For me, I think that this is, for myself personally, I believe that it is, the biggest benefit of this is that it's where it's at. Because it's so easy for everyone to walk through, the visitors see it, when the doors are up, they're going to go in, whatever. I don't know of any locations in this vicinity that would work as well, and also it's a city-owned building. It's a city property already, and otherwise we'd have to
Rent, we'd have to pay rent.
We'd have to rent, probably, right? And we would.
We do have, the auditorium space here.
Sure.
But that doesn't seem like that solves all of our problems. It actually might create more problems having.
See,
So
we talked about that too, right? Last year, we talked a little bit
I think we
about
did talk
that.
about it in a meeting.
We talked a little bit about making the lobby here into kind of like a visitor center. The problems with that is that when there is a show, it's going to be hard for us to have like merch and
Right.
someone to have a desk and things like
yeah,
that. We
yeah.
tried to make it work, it was just really difficult.
Yeah.
But,
So we have a lot of upfront costs, but then we don't pay anything but utilities, right? Which is probably over there is electricity. I don't even know that we would be paying anything.
I don't know that, I'd have to look
Cox,
into it. I think it's probably
electricity.
just electricity.
Because we'd probably use mini splits and probably all electric.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have electricity and we'd have Cox, phone line, and maybe a printer. I mean, that's kind of
Sure.
expenses we would have over there.
And then the city continues to maintain it, and even because they,
Be similar to our setup here with the auditorium, right?
Okay.
This is a city-owned building, and we just manage it, and we pay our utilities here.
Yeah.
But we don't pay like rent to the city for the office out of here.
What kind of conflict of interest would we want to be wary of? You said like selling merchandise, which sounds good, but then, I don't know,
We don't wanna
retail
compete.
that well, you don't want it, yeah.
We don't want to compete. We don't want to compete with the retailers. Any merch that we did in there, this would have to be really thought out. And look, let me just say to everybody, this is just an idea.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm
Please don't.
just asking questions.
Yeah, no, this is, because I know there's going to be some pushback on this, but these are concepts, these are ideas. That's why we're here as a commission, is we put stuff out and we got to talk it through. And it will flush itself out as either a good idea and we'll move forward, it'll flush itself out as a bad idea and we won't do it, right? But I agree, retail could be an issue because we don't want to compete with our retailers. So we would have to be careful and make sure that we're not doing that.
Right,
so
of
it would
course,
be
I think,
retail that we're placing in there?
Yeah.
Would it be from local?
Well, I don't know if is that something we could do? Could they bring some of, could locals bring their merchandise in and we sell it? I don't know the legality of all that.
So I don't think there's an issue with that. I think Experience Fayetteville actually
I
does
think
that.
they do that too.
See, I know they do things like chocolates, like locally made chocolates and things like that. And I don't know about like T-shirts, but if we were to make merch like T-shirts that we were going to sell, it would be only with our brand on it that only we can use, right?
Or maybe like the promotional items for a band that's here.
Yes.
That kind of stuff.
That kind of stuff, yeah.
Right.
So we wouldn't want, again, we would never want to compete. So we would, if anything that we produced and sold would be only like Visit Eureka Springs branded.
Right.
Our brand.
But it would be
and
nice
then-
to have a visitor center where somebody walks in, they're like, oh, where do I get one of those? And you're like, oh, well, that's at the gallery up on Spring Street. And they have the opportunity to, that's the whole point of a visitor center, right?
Yeah, like I foresee rack cards and
Yeah.
things like that, more informational, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I agree that this would take a lot of thought and it would take a lot of planning. But if we're going to do it, we got to start somewhere on at least the conversation. And so,
Cool.
maybe we see we see it in the budget as a wish list and see if it fits.
Yes.
Let's maybe see if it fits in the budget for this next year.
I can start to try to get estimates, real estimates for renovations as well.
Yeah, let's see if it fits in the budget, how it would fit, and then if we think that we can do it financially, then maybe we just try to have a few workshops right at the beginning of the year to workshop with a full commission. Obviously, we're short with a full commission, and really talk through the downfalls of all of it and how it would work and how it would impact the city. We want to get maybe some input, maybe from Paradise, maybe even some other AMPs that run them. Fayetteville might be a good place for us to reach out.
Yeah.
How does it impact them and their tourism? And do they feel like it's really working for them? Okay. Any other stuff on that? I like that we're at least having a discussion. If not, we'll move on to the last thing that I have, and that's our schedule for, if you guys have a calendar. So our next meeting is the 26th. That won't, for this month, that will be our regular meeting at 6 p.m. But when we get into November, we have the workshop on the 9th, and then we have our regular scheduled meeting on November the 23rd. So traditionally, since I've been on the commission the last few years, we've had to either not have these meetings or we've had to adjust them because that's the night before Thanksgiving and a lot of people are traveling. Or they're prepping for big days at work or whatever it is. So what do you guys want to do for November's meeting? Do we want to try to change it? I think last year we might not even had a November meeting. Do you remember?
You didn't, I think it was canceled
I don't think we had enough commissioners to have
Yeah, we
a
didn't have a
November
quorum.
meeting.
because it was
Because
the day
it was like,
before or something like that. After
yeah, it always
Thanksgiving,
falls,
yeah.
almost always right before.
Can you
Probably better in November than
Well, that's
December.
what as actually Madison's idea, maybe we do the workshop and the meeting immediately following.
Yeah,
So we do a 5 o'clock workshop and a 6 o'clock meeting on the 9th.
okay.
Let's try that, and then that way everybody has the rest of the month to family, travel, work, whatever you're doing. And we'll get some feedback from the other commissioners on their schedule as well. And then December, we're looking at December, it's not the 7th, it's the 14th, so it would be the 14th and the 28th. Traditionally, since, 3 years that I've been on the commission, we've never had a December meeting.
Well, my birthday is the 27th, so I would.
So we're doing it on the
we should do
27th,
it the 27th.
and we'll just turn it into a party. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, November would probably be better than skip December if you're going to skip one.
What kind of, this has been the conversation, what kind of business can we even do in December that impacts the rest of the year? There's just not much to do. I would say for now, let's do the same thing in December, workshop and meeting on the 14th, But let's ask commissioners if they're even going to be available. This is a big travel month, and a lot of people travel. Let's find out who's available to do both on the 14th, and let's see if we can just combine them both. Just remember, we'll have to update the city so they can update the website
Yeah.
and notify everybody properly of the change.
I'll send an email out to all of you individually and
Yeah,
gauge,
find
and then we'll
out.
find out. And then I'll let
But
you all
I
know.
think just for today's, we'll do December 7th, and it'd be November 9th. And try to
December 7th and, I'm
November
sorry, say that again?
7th, and then it'd be November the 9th, is that what you have?
November the 9th and December 14th.
December 14th.
Yeah.
That's correct, yeah.
That's
And
kind
let's
of-
see, and then if that doesn't work, December 7th, maybe we'll move it up a week, just depending on, because I know the
Okay.
later we get in the week, the harder it
Sure.
gets. Okay. Anything else? You guys got anything else? That's all that I have. We'll let them work on the budget. You guys are new to the commission. The budget doesn't get approved until January. So the way the bylaws read, and you'll get did you get bylaws? You got bylaws when you became a commissioner? Okay. You'll get a set of bylaws. The bylaws read, and the city ordinance reads that the budget is to be approved in January. So we'll have a special meeting in January to approve. This is what we did last year.
Yeah, you had a special meeting.
We had a special meeting the first business day that everybody was available to approve the budget. And so special meetings are only one, you can only do one motion and one vote, so it's one topic. So we would meet, we'd only discuss the budget, we would only approve the budget, it's only one special meeting. So I need you guys to look at your calendar, but it would be the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, be one of those 3 days. Somewhere there, and see what day is
Okay.
best for everybody.
Yeah, the staff will be out the 1st, but we
First
come
is-
back to the office the 2nd,
Yeah.
it sounds like. Yeah,
Is that, will you guys be here on the 2nd? Or do we
Yeah.
know?
I'll be here for sure.
Okay. So, 3rd, 4th, 5th, one day, those first 3 days, we need to approve the budget so they can spend money.
Anytime after the 2nd, I'm good, that's kind of a quiet,
Yeah,
Yeah, I would not recommend Monday. I would recommend
yeah,
probably
no, that's,
give everybody that day to recover from the new year. A lot of people will be off and traveling,
yeah, I think so too.
but I think the 3rd or the 4th is probably. Okay, that's it.
cool.
Unless you guys
Thank-
have something else, then we're dismissed.
I'm good.
All right, thank you.